Hey everybody, welcome back to the Woody Hayes Athletic Center. We are finally getting some progress back towards football. This is Jeremy Birmingham. I am Austin Ward. The first Buckeyes rolled back in for the resumption of voluntary workouts a little before 6:30, about 6:25. The specialists, always the first guys in, came in no more than 9 at a time, taking these shifts. It's going to go all day for Ohio State, 6:30 to about 3:30. Players have to schedule their times. They've got a bunch of restrictions when they go in this door over here to my left, taking temperature checks. But Berm, it's one step in the right direction.
Yeah, and these guys have all been filtering their way back into town over the last few days. They've been getting tested for COVID-19 when they arrive. They're still getting temperature checks every day. It's like they want to get as close to back to normal as possible, but what is normal right now, we don't really know. Regardless, you can kind of feel the little buzz in the air, and but let's be honest, the only people who are here voluntarily are us. There's sort of an expectation once you sign that letter of intent with Ohio State, you're going to show up when it's time to do football stuff. And obviously the school is going to great lengths to make sure that these players are taken care of and that their safety is number one. But underlying it all, it's time to get back to football.
I think we've dealt with that semantics of the voluntary part before with the players, but also, some of the guys that we know, they want to be back. Wyatt Davis had been in California. He would have had the option. He had a pretty decent, amount of gym equipment, places that he was, going from field to field working out. But he's back. Everyone from across the country, whether it's Enoch Vimahi from Hawaii or coast to coast Jeremy Ruckert back from New York, they all want to be back. I think there's an element here where the Buckeyes want to be back with their teammates. They want to start preparing because they want to win a national championship. And it's just not the same if you're not in this building.
Yeah, I mean, right now we've seen, 4 groups walk in. I just trying to watch the little things, right? And the only group that was sort of positional was like all the offensive linemen arrive at once. So you know how tight-knit that group is, and it means a lot for these guys to just be here together. The offensive line is the only group that was out here congregating, kind of talking for a minute amongst themselves before going through the processor line pretty much. And it's just one of those things. None of these guys want to miss football. I mean, we talked about it on Lettermen Live a few weeks ago, but you're talking about Wyatt Davis and Josh Myers, guys that gave up NFL money, first and second round NFL money, to be back here this year. It means a ton for them to be able to be returning to some sense of normalcy.
And I would say that this morning has also been a reminder that there isn't a lot of normalcy. Every single player that has walked in the building has been wearing their mask. Every single coach that we've seen so far has been taking precautions for social distance and wearing masks. So, we'll see exactly what these workouts actually entail and look like, and when players start talking about that and they're allowed to, are they going to continue to wear the masks when they are working out? Or they're, we've seen the players leaving and there are restrictions about changing your clothes and showering.
Right, they're giving them a to-go box.
Yeah, they walk out with, there was a Chick-fil-A bag, there was a bunch of snacks, there's tomorrow's workout clothes, and they'll bring back what they wore today. Ohio State's put in so many protocols to get this safely done for Ohio State and the players. And, obviously they think that it's worth it.
Right.
And who's to argue with that? But it is not easy to do this.
No, and to be clear, it's not like there's 9 guys in the building, okay? So there's groups of 9. So they come in at staggered times. The group of 9, they're all staying 6 feet apart, but they're in one station. The previous group is in another station, and they're moving around. So it's not like they're using the entirety of the Woody Hayes Athletic Center for 9 guys. They're just in groups, and they're kept away from each other. And inside of the groups themselves, they're still 6 feet apart. So they're trying to do the best they can to build that teamwork, the brotherhood, the camaraderie, while maintaining all the standards that people have put in place for safety. And you commend them for the work they're doing. Again, I did ask if the players had been tested before they got signed up for these workouts, and they all have been.
They did, yeah. That took place last week when you returned to campus. Initially, there was some question with that from Gene Smith. They were not going to test everybody. Every player that has returned, every coach has been tested for COVID-19. Then they were self-quarantined until the negative test was confirmed. I know that things can still change after that, but nobody was allowed to come in here without having got a test.
Right, and we don't know all the results, but I mean, I guess you just don't really, it doesn't really matter that much. I mean, if we notice a couple players here or there that don't show up today, and maybe you assume those things, but you don't want to really even think that much about it because it doesn't really matter. But again, for me, it was just watching the guys walking through the Woody Hayes grand entrance here through the trophy room and all that stuff. walk in, get your Gatorade, go get your temperature check, move on out. And it seems very clinical. It seems very surgical in a way, and that's the way they're going to do something. You know, we were told by one of the Ohio State administrators, who this is probably the cleanest building in America, is what he said. So you have to take that as truth, because you know that they wouldn't be having these kids back in here, kids that do so much for the school and make so much money for the school. They wouldn't put them in harm's way.
They don't do anything inside this building without the intent of being the best in the country.
Right.
So to brag about the cleanliness of the locker room and
I
the
mean,
facilities.
Ohio Stadium for years is talking about how it's the zero waste capital of the country. So clearly, whatever they're doing at Ohio State, the goal is to be as good or better than anybody in the country. And that starts today with making sure that the players are safe and that the building is taken care of.
Yeah, the Woody Hayes Athletic Center is open for business. Trey Sermon's one of the first ones to walk in. If we learn anything from guys walking in to do workouts, it's that this guy is big and he's here.
Yeah, we were not sure initially who it was. Thought it could have been a linebacker or someone like that. Trey Sermon looks like a guy who has spent the last 9 months getting ready for a shot at the NFL.
Opportunity of a lifetime, really. I mean,
he looks tremendous. Master Teague walked in and didn't seem to have any noticeable limp or wasn't on any crutches, nothing, no brace on his
had
foot.
a ton of like wires that looked like those were probably for some
some sort of testing or whatever.
Yeah,
but you know, what you're going to see here is just everyone getting back to normal.
Yep.
The only person who looked worse for wear today is Kevin Wilson, who apparently must have had some sort of off-season surgery of his own. And but as far as players go, I guess the thing that was shocking was just how big Trey Sermon looked walking in here.
Yeah, we're going to mention Trey Sermon and Master Teague because we saw him and because it's running back week at Lettermen Row. So stay tuned for all that coverage as we get going here and Ohio State gets back to business. We've got a lot more coming. Supposed to be able to talk to some players and Mickey Marotti this week. We'll have full coverage of that along with running back week at lettermenrow.com. Spencer Holbrook will be working on some stuff when he's not behind the camera. Berm and I will be cranking out stuff. He's got recruiting angles on the running backs, and I'll have everything about the return to play model for the Buckeyes going on as we go through these weeks ahead and try to get back to football and normalcy. For Berm, I'm Austin Ward. This has been Lettermen Row, the return to the Woody Hayes Athletic Center. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe below to get the latest videos from Lettermen Row.
We got Letterman Live, we've got the practice report, we got rapid reaction. Hey, and you know we got Buckeye IQ with Zach Bourne.
For sure. We got recruiting breakdowns with Berm. We got whatever you need. Ohio State football and Ohio State athletics, we've got you covered here at Lettermen Row.